Hi, it's Mrs. Corey, Miss Colleen, and I am here today for our new speech therapy video. And we are working on following directions again. So we're going to do another cooking recipe. So even though it's in the speech section, it's also a cooking recipe. And I am excited that you're all here today. Hopefully this is something that you may have some of the ingredients at home, but if not, maybe the next time your parent goes to the store, they can pick up what's needed for this recipe. And today our recipe is, and let me take the camera, our recipe is Earth Day Dirt Cups. And I'm gonna zoom in to start on our ingredients and what we'll need for this. We need a bowl, a spoon, chocolate pudding mix, milk, Oreos, and gummy worms. Now there are two things that they did not mention in this recipe because I did get this from the internet, but I thought it would be a good one for all of us. And the two things they did forget as far as things that we need are a measuring cup. So I have a kind of big measuring cup right here. And then also it helps to have a baggie, okay? So here's a baggie and we're gonna use that a little bit later, okay? So we are going to start with step number one. Step number one says, and there are, oops, let me show you all of them, 7 steps to this recipe and following directions. And our first step says, pour your pudding mix into the bowl. So let me get, I'm gonna move my sheet over and I'm gonna get my bowl, okay. And I already have my spoon here. So I'm gonna take my pudding mix. You don't have to use this brand. I'll put my finger over it so it's not advertising for that brand, but get your chocolate pudding mix, open the box up. I already did that before we started. And pour your chocolate pudding into the bowl, the mix, okay? And you might tap it like I am on the side of the bowl so that you know you got everything out, okay? We won't need that box anymore. I'll set that to the side. Now, direction number 2 is pour 2 cups of milk into the bowl. And like I said, I kind of have a big measuring cup here. This one will hold up to 4 cups. But I wanted a big one so that I didn't spill. But you might have a smaller measuring cup at home. So you're going to pour your milk into there, into your measuring cup, and get it to the 2-cup line. And I'm going to show that to you. Hopefully I can get it on the side here. I want you to be able to see that I filled it to the 2-cup line. So you can see the number 2, I'm tilting it just a little, and you can see the milk went up to the 2-cup line, okay? And so we're going to pour that into our bowl. Okay, step number 2. Okay, and we can set that over there. Now, the next part that either you or someone who's helping you will do is use your spoon and start stirring the pudding mix and the milk. Now, it says we need to mix for 2 minutes, and I'm going to show you that direction. Mix for 2 minutes. So this is step number 3. Okay, I'm going to set this here while I keep stirring. The reason you have to stir for so long is because the dried ingredients for the pudding can sometimes be lumpy, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so it's a little lumpy. So the more we stir it, the more the lumps will get out of the mix. And it will get smoother and smoother as we're mixing it. You want to move your spoon around the edge, inside edge of the bowl, That way you get all of the pudding mixed into the milk. Oops, I had a little splash. That can happen sometimes since we're using a liquid like milk. Okay. Again, if you still feel lumps, just use your spoon along the edges and then keep mixing. You don't have to mix super fast. You just take your time and keep mixing so that we get all the dry ingredients incorporated, and that's a new word for us for our vocabulary, incorporated into the milk. Stirring the ingredients for a long time, you are incorporating the dry ingredients with the wet ingredient, which is the dry pudding with the wet milk, the liquid. So incorporate means you're gradually mixing them together and they become one. They're incorporated together to make the pudding. So after you've been stirring the pudding for about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, you're going to see less lumps and bumps in your pudding, okay? But there still might be a few, and that's okay. Now the next thing you'll see is that the pudding starts to get thicker. See, it's not a liquid anymore, it's more of a gel pudding mix, right? So it's a little bit thicker, and then as soon as you start to see it getting to be the right thickness, and you will know that or your partner will know that, okay? But you can also feel it with your spoon. If you lift up your spoon and then you turn it to the side, you can feel the pudding kind of plopping off. It doesn't just run off like a liquid, okay? So you and your partner, make sure you've stirred it and gotten to get everything mixed together. And now we will move to step number 4. We're going to scoop the pudding into a cup. Now I have 4 cups here. Mugs, whatever you choose, it doesn't matter. I took 4 cups from my cupboard, and we are going to spoon in the pudding into each cup. I have 4 people in my family, so that's why I'm doing 4 cups. There's me, there's Mr. Corey, there's my daughter Erin, and my daughter Anna. So I'm gonna put about 2 or 3 scoops into each cup, okay? And I'm making sure I'm being fair. I'm gonna do 2 scoops in each cup to start. I think that's a good idea for 4 cups, okay? Now let me look inside my cups to see how much is in there. Okay. It looks pretty even. So what I'll do next, is add some more. So I'm going to add 1 more scoop to each cup. Sorry if it's a little shaky. Okay. 3. And now the 4th cup. Okay. Let me look in my bowl. Okay, it looks like I have enough for everybody to have 1 more spoonful. So that means for this recipe, if you had 4 cups, you will get to put 4 big spoonfuls into each cup. If you have a larger family, then you can make this recipe, but double it. And doubling it means you'll use each ingredient twice. So it would be 2 packages of pudding, and it would be 4 cups of milk. And you might need to stir it for a little bit longer than 2 minutes. Now I've got a little bit of pudding left in here, so I'm going to see if any of my cups need a little bit more. I think that one needed a little bit more, and maybe that one. Just a little bit something kids like to do when they're all done making a recipe. You could lick the extra pudding out of here with a spoon, but don't share that spoon with anybody else. Okay. Now that we have our 4 cups of pudding, we are going to do step number 5. Okay. Step number 5 says you will crush your Oreos. So what I'm going to do is, here are my Oreos over here. And I'm going to get the plastic baggie. And now I'm getting the Oreos, or any kind of sandwich cookie like this that's black and white, right? And I'm going to put 4 Oreos into the baggie, okay? And then I'm going to take my finger, and this is something I'm sure we've all practiced, and seal up the baggie, going all the way across so that we know that it's sealed, okay? Now, you get to do something fun. You're going to lay this baggie on the table, and you're going to smash up your Oreos with your hands. So you just make a little fist like this, okay? And start to smash your Oreos with your hand, okay? And what that'll do is break up your Oreos into smaller pieces. So you see Mrs. Corey's pounding away. Now, if that's a little bit too hard, or it hurts your hand, or maybe you feel like you don't have enough strength in your hands, that is okay. What you can do is you can ask your partner to do that. Once you break up the pieces, now you can just take the bag in your hands, and I think this is something that makes them a little bit smaller, is just take the Oreo in the baggie between your fingers, and you can kind of crunch it up. Okay, now obviously the white part of the Oreo is in there too, the creamy part, but that's okay. Now the reason they call these Earth Day cups is, number one, you could make them on Earth Day, which was last week on Wednesday, but you can make these anytime, and people just call them dirt pudding. So you can call it Earth Day pudding, or Earth Day dirt cups, or just dirt cups. All right, so we get all of these pieces scrunched up in our hands. We're just breaking it with our fingers in the baggie. And as you saw, you only need 1 cookie for each cup. So since I made 4 cups, I'm doing 4 Oreos. Obviously, you can eat your Oreos separately later as a treat too. Share them with your family, okay? So now that we've crushed up the Oreos, we can open up our bag. So, Mrs. Corey's going to open up her bag. I've got my bag of Oreos. And then all you need to do is sprinkle some of the dirt on top of your pudding. You can see it in there. It looks like dirt on top of your pudding. Okay. Some in that cup. Now, some of the cookies might stick to the sides of the bag, and that's okay. You might have to use a spoon at the end to get some of them out. Here's the last part. And a little more dirt on this one. Make sure all of them got some. Okay. And then you can see you can add a little bit of dirt, or you can add a lot. This one has a lot, okay? Now, the last step after number 6, which was sprinkle on the Oreos. So we did crush the Oreos, sprinkle on the Oreos. Sorry, I didn't show the picture for that step, but that was that step 6. Our last step is number 7, add a gummy worm on top. Because what is dirt without a few worms? Now, I bought a bag of gummy worms at the store. It doesn't matter which brand you use. Some people like these gummy worms, some people don't. And you're just going to put that gummy worm inside on top of the dirt. So it looks like it's crawling around in there. Here's another gummy worm for this one. It's a fun surprise. Add another gummy worm to this one. And I kind of, sometimes people have it sticking out. Some people make it go all the way in the cup. So it might be a surprise if you surprise somebody with these gummy worms in your cup of pudding and dirt and worms. But I know a lot of people like to eat those. And if you wanted to, you were being really generous, you could put 2 worms in. So I'm going to stick 2 worms in this one because I think my daughter might like 2. Okay. So that completes our recipe for chocolate pudding with crushed Oreos and worms inside to make our Earth Day dirt cups. I'm going to show the whole recipe right now so you can see it. All the steps plus the completed product. And I'm going to zoom back in. And I'm going to take a taste. It tastes really good. I'm going to take out my worm. I'm going to take a bite of that. If you don't like gummy worms, you don't have to eat the whole thing. You can give it a try. Mrs. Corey really liked the gummy worm. I also like to take a bite of gummy worm and then take a bite of the pudding because it is so yummy. And then let's get another bite of the worm. Ah, there it is. It's covered in the dirt. And more bites of pudding. Oh my goodness, I'm chewing a lot. So my family will get to taste these other cups, and what you can do is you can put them in the refrigerator to eat later. If you want to, you can put a piece of foil over the top to keep them fresh. Maybe you won't eat them all right away. Maybe you won't share them. Maybe you want them for yourself for later. And that is making Earth Day dirt cups with pudding, Oreos, and gummy worms. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.